I'm a medical doctor, a family physician. At the same time, I moved to UK 2 years ago, and I am doing a research. I'm a research fellow in the Institute of Applied Health Research, Department of Health Economics in the University of Birmingham. And I'm researching on health, as a study on sexual health in UK, the implementation of the digital health mandates of the Department of Health and Social Care. So this topic is a very interesting topic to me because I can relate with it. And uh, I've really loved to share my thoughts about it. How are the Black communities, how are they faring? Not only in the UK, but also in the United States and in Canada, in Australia. So it's a subject that is peculiar, that that people can relate regardless of where they are, as long as they are in the diaspora. So that is what I will be talking about. I felt we should start with some foundational knowledge about migration. What is human migration? And human migration is defined as the movement of group of people from one place to another, particularly different countries with the intention of settling temporarily or permanently in the new location. So that's just the basic definition I got from different texts that I consulted. And this could be legal or illegal migration. We know of the issues that the IOM, that's International Organization of Migration, is dealing with regarding the illegal migration or irregular migration, as they call it, of Black communities moving, predominantly the young population, moving across the sub-Saharan Africa, and then trying to go through the route of Libya, Morocco, and some of them attempting to cross the Mediterranean Sea to Europe, precisely Italy, and how thousands of them have lost their lives in this drive. So that is an illegal migration. Another type of illegal migration is in times of wars and armed conflicts, in which we have a lot of refugees and refugee camps at different countries of the world as a result of fights and armed conflicts. We also have internally displaced camps, IDPs, even within the countries, and some of them, they found their way out of the country and declare they became international refugees. So it can be legal, it can be illegal. It can also be voluntary, it can be involuntary, as the case we see in terms of slave trade, in terms of forced displacement and what have you. So now, it's also very important to state that migration is not a recent view. If we look at the scripture, we'll know that it was God himself that called Moses. And he said he should leave his father's house and go to the country where he will show him. And he left, and Abraham left the place of his birth to another place. We also saw the Bible littered in the Old Testament with the example of Isaac. When he went to Egypt, he sojourned at different places based on the instruction of God. We also saw Jacob when he had to leave his father and his mother, running away from his brother, and he crossed regions and international boundaries. And we know the stories. There are also some scientific examples of migration. We all know the story of Christopher Columbus, how he moved. He actually discovered a place called, and in Limbe, America, but he was actually selling spices from one region to another. The history is littered with migrations from one place to another in search of greener pasture. So it's a common phenomenon that predates our modern time and era, and is something that is not, it's a fundamental human right of people to move, especially when they perceive that there is a better opportunity across the the border. They will move, and it's part of their right. It's part of their right. And during the colonial era, we know of so many migrations that also occurred. At the time, the Pan-African uh, reformists, they formed a group, and they sent some bright chaps, young chaps in Africa to Europe, precisely the United Kingdom, for them to learn the modern, to be trained in governance, in administration, public administration. And afterwards, they returned to the country in the early 20th centuries. And many of them eventually were the main freedom anti-colonial fighters. And they took the training they've got from Britain back to Africa. And they started campaign that led to decolonization of many regions in Africa. For example, the three of them we cannot forget as students of history were the Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, and how he went back and he actually became the first president in Ghana. We can't also forget the Julius Nyerere of Tanzania. He eventually became the president of Tanzania. We also know of their friend, Awolowo, Obafemi Awolowo, who was also a leader of an ethnic extraction in Nigeria. So migration has always been with us in the human history. And so whatever is happening at the moment now is not new, it's not odd, it is actually consistent with our existence. But then when we look at the modern migration, we'll see that basically is fueled by industrialization in the developed countries. According to the OECD countries, they brought out a definition to differentiate countries based on their per capita GDP income, to fragmented countries, to high-income countries, middle-income countries, and low-income countries. And for those that are in high-income countries, they are the countries that have been industrialized fully. And we'll see 20. That's why we'll talk about G20. We'll talk about when we're talking of the international trades and international politics. These are people that take the front stage in policies, in international government, and they set pace for other countries, especially the low middle income countries, where the global majority belongs to. So most of the countries in Africa, they fall into the low and middle income countries extraction. And then because of the inverted population density structure that we see in high-income country. In other words, because they are advanced in healthcare, the health indices in these countries are inverted. People are living longer. So we now have more of the older population in the developed countries, in Europe, in United Kingdom, in the West, that is in Canada and in United States. Many people are living longer there. So, and compared to what we see in low and middle income countries, where there is we see more of the population density in the lower age range, in the sense that an African, a typical African country may have like 4, 5, 12 children in a nuclear family. So as a result of that, we have more population of the younger age group, people that are agile, people that can walk, people that are very productive to industries in the low and middle income country compared to high income country where the industries are. Because of this asymmetry in the distribution of the population age, especially with respect to the young age group, we see the high-income countries where there are more opportunities, putting in measures to attract younger population to come to their country and work. And this is what we have seen in most of the policies in the recent decades of the high-income countries trying to make migrations for high-skilled workers, for professionals like doctors. At the time, like 8 years ago, there was a massive airlift of doctors to Australia. And then we also know of the Ministry of Health in Saudi Arabia. We know of also the nurses and healthcare professional route in Canada in the last few years, I think like 10 years ago, which witnessed a lot of movement of young professionals, highly skilled workers from African continent to the high income countries in search for greener pasture. So we've seen labor migrations, refugee migrations, and urbanization as the major indicators that fuels migrations, emigrations of people, middle class, and then highly skilled workers from low-income countries where there are not much opportunity to thrive, to high-income countries where there are opportunities to thrive. So it's important for us to mention that. Now, for the past few years, starting from 2017, there about 2018, we've witnessed a massive influx of people, young people, professionals, skilled workers from Nigeria, from Africa generally. I'm just using the Nigeria, for example, as a microcosm of the bigger picture of migration and picture from Nigeria. A total of 141,000 Nigerians alone migrated to UK from Nigeria just from June 2022 to June 2023. And then a total of 558,887 work visas, including dependents, were issued by the year ending June 2023. And then about 657,208 study visas were guaranteed. By the time we had their dependents to this number, And mind you, some of them have like 4 dependents. Some of them could have more. We have a total number of 3,287,404 my immigrants into the UK. And this is only for UK statistics. We also have similar figures like that to other countries in the West, predominantly, specifically in Canada. Canada has also witnessed massive influx of Black communities into Black immigrants, that's the global majority, into the country. And likewise, Netherlands, Australia, United States, and then those other high-income countries. So now the question is, what are the challenges faced by this new global majority in immigrants? Because we know that migration on its own has its challenges. What are the challenges? And that is the major focus of our discussion tonight. And I don't want to waste our time at all. The major problem that they face is the financial instability. Many of these people have to borrow some money to come to this country. And on arrival here, they thought that things would change sporadically. And after some years having stayed here, observe that things are not the way they expected. And that really causes a lot of it causes a lot of stress, mental stress for them when they usually come here. Another very important challenge that they face is unemployment. And it's very important for us to state here that for some of these diasporal and destinations, the jobs that are available for new immigrants are very minimal. And they are restricted to all these menial jobs. I know of a medical doctor, very son from Nigeria. And then while he was here, when he came here, he had to manage a cleaning job. He was cleaning jobs in a viewing center. And he had to manage that for some time before he was able to get placement for having passed the PLAB 2, the PLAB 1 and PLAB 2, for him to be able to practice as a doctor. So the limited job opportunity is also a concern for many of the new immigrants. Another very outstanding challenge is lack of UK work experience. Majority of the jobs available for these new immigrants, they will require some experience in the UK. And if you don't have the experience, you might not be able to get a good job, except some that came through maybe care visa, because care visa was introduced, I think about 4 or 5 years ago, thereabout, and since 2017, 2018, rather. And except they are recruited internationally, if they come here, maybe the dependent of a student, for instance, it's a serious challenge before getting somewhere, because they will ask that you need a minimum of 6 months to 1 year UK experience. Another challenge faced by new immigrants is the lack of recognition for foreign qualifications. Lack of recognition for foreign qualifications is quite better for medical practitioners, because there's a way you can weigh your training back home as a doctor. You just need to do the licensing exams, and then you'll be able to start your either GP training or specialty here in UK. And similar routes exist in Canada, where you have to do MCCQE. But if you are, for instance, an engineer, or you study other professional courses, it's usually difficult because they don't recognize your foreign qualification. I know quite a number of people who are here in this land in UK who had PhD. They have second degree from the country they are coming from, but they have to survive with warehouse jobs. Why? Because their certifications from either Ghana or from Uganda or from those countries in Africa is not recognized here, and is a serious challenge for them. Another concern is high cost of living, numerous bills, uh, usually from where many of the new immigrants came from. They usually pay house rent every year. A typical example is from Nigeria, but here is every month, and the bills are just numerous, and many of them they find it difficult to adjust. They find it difficult. In fact, when they even get a job too, they find it difficult to have savings. Then we are also look at the challenge of weather. And this one, we usually recommend that when you are coming, you come with it, depending on the time they come. If it is during winter, it is expected to have something that can cover very well. And then to be in a house that has a good heating system, because it is life-threatening for well, if the weather is less than, just imagine -9, -7. Uh, it could be very, very challenging. Another challenge we identify is house hunting. House hunting in UK is quite very challenging, especially when they ask the requirements and series of requirements, including, specified criteria for guarantors, and it could be a great deal of headache. It could be a great deal of headache for new immigrants. Other ones we saw is loneliness and homesickness. Loneliness, especially for those who are married and the partner and the family is in overseas. It could be quite challenging. Unlike Nigeria, or in other countries in Africa where the social interaction is very healthy and robust. In most of all these countries of sojourn, you are on your own in the language, in our own lexicon. You just man your own business. So that could be a challenge, a very challenging situation. Indirect discrimination. I've witnessed a number of implicit discriminations in the system, despite that there is a there the policy and the government try to shy away from that, but then they are still there. Usually when you put a call to maybe for a service, the first thing they will ask you is, what is your immigration status? It's called triaging. They want to know where to put you, and they want to know what you are qualified for and what you are not qualified for. Indirect discrimination is there in the system, is there everywhere. Social media is trying to expose a bit of it, but then it's inherent, especially in Europe. Possibly it's mild in a place like US and in Canada, but then we still hear some cases from those hands too. So it's another very valid points that the people, new immigrants, face. Another one is unfulfilled high expectations. Many of them soon will start asking, is it, did I actually make the right choice coming to this country? Because it seemed as if that you were doing very well back in the country, but now it seems as if things are not going the way as expected. Many of them thought within 1 year they'll be able to build a new house back at home and finish and they now see that it's not the case. So it's a serious challenge. And it's have direct impact on their mental health. Many of them are depressed. And for the couples that immigrated into the country, there are issues that the immigration has caused. We have so many examples that I know of a lot of couples that came into this country and they are separated now. In fact, there was a document I saw that said 1 out of 4 new immigrant couples, they divorced immediately after a divorce few years, 3 to 5 years after coming to this country. And I tried to do some research and I discovered that for them, following factors might be responsible for marital breakup of their relationship. When there's selfishness and lack of understanding. Lack of understanding of what? Lack of understanding that this is not the country of our birth. And here we are new immigrants, we are starting all over again. It's like starting afresh, and we need to work for some time before we can attain a similar level of comfort that we had where we are coming from. Another example that might be responsible for marital breakup among new immigrants, especially in UK, but then it's also relevant to other parts of the world, high-income countries, maybe due to poor communication and ineffective conflict resolution measures. Poor communications is very easy here for problem to occur among couples, especially new ones, new within, maybe I need to explain that these new immigrants, new global majority immigrants are those within 3 to 5 years that arrived in the diaspora within 3 to 5 years. Very important for us to define that. So unlike back home where you can easily see somebody you run to settle issues amicably, here there's nothing like that. You are on your own. And then another problem is changing gender roles in marriage. Many couples back home, they didn't know that the wife could go to work in the night and come back and you will be left with the children. And the cultural holds that I've had with people, especially the male gender in the marriage, while coming to this new environment, it's a serious challenge for many men to learn how to take care of the children, to change pampers and take care of nursing small children is a challenge. So these are the challenges. I know it's not exhaustive. Possibly after the presentation, we can still have 1 or 2 contribution on that. Now, these are just my recommended solutions as I try to round up because of time. The first recommendation I will recommend for new global immigrants, global majority immigrants, is to focus on the goal. What is the purpose for coming here? And not to expect that things will just get rosy at the snap of a finger. No, is to know that it will go through a process. It is easy to blow back home in our home of birth by just little connection. You overnight, you can become a billionaire. But here is a new place. You need to walk. You need to walk and it needs time. So it's not whatever you are going through. It's not what is it's not uncommon to men. It's not what is uncommon to men. People have gone through it and today their mind, they are at rest. So focus on the goal. Why am I here? What did I want for coming here? Nobody invited me here, but I am here now. So it's either it works out or it works out. There is no going back. It's either it works out or it works out. And I'm going to make it work out. The second point I want to recommend is the interaction with people that have been here. There are people that went through what you are going through. Your future, what you are anticipating is the past of somebody. You don't need to go through their mistakes. By working with them, by interacting with them, they will show you the way and you may not suffer what you could have suffered without mentorship. There is need for mentorship. There's need for interacting with people that can encourage you. Another point that I put there is to focus on the positives. It's not all bad. It's not all bad. Uh, Back in the country, there is no sound health care. You pay out of pocket payment for everything. In other words, everybody in low income country, they are just a step away from poverty. They are just a sickness step away from poverty. In other words, one sickness, for example, in Nigeria, where I came from, can land a man into a serious debt because due to catastrophic health expenditure, there is no financial risk protection. And these are the issues that are crucial. But here there is, so you don't bother on unforeseen nature of illnesses and sickness. That is good. What about security? These are the positives. You cannot compare the security in high-income countries to the security in low-income countries. And that is fundamental for me as a person. What is the essence of the wealth that someone can just come and claim me in the middle of the night? So focus on the positives. There are positives. There are positives in this place. Then the next point is plan. It's the usual saying that anyone that does not plan, failure to plan is planning to fail, has already planned to fail. So in the next 3 years, what do I want to do? How do I manage my funds to ensure that I have maximum savings? Do I need to enter mortgage? And then understanding the tax system of the country, because it is quite different from where we are coming from. So it's important. If you don't understand it, you will be a victim of it. And one can easily enter trouble if you don't understand the system here. Then the next point says, cut down your standard of living. It's important to cut down, lower the standard of living. You are just starting in a new place. So there is need to lower expectation. There's need to lower standard of living so as to increase the savings. And lastly, focus on God. Interact more with with the word of God. Genesis 26:12. It says that Isaac went, he planted in that same country, and he reaped 100-fold. God was with him, and he waxed strong, even in a strange land. He waxed strong and he became so great, exceedingly great, that even the Philistines, they envied him. So focus on God. Know that it's God that brought you in this place. And the God that brought you, it wasn't a coincidence. They wouldn't have given you visa if you are not needed here. So it's because you are needed here and there's something you need to contribute to. That is why you are here. And that God is not a God in Africa alone, he's a God of this land too. And give praise, the land will yield its increase for you. These are the recommendations I have. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Femi. Quite interesting, I might say. I've learned so much today. Um, so some of the challenges that we face when you talk about unemployment, I guess a lot of us who are immigrants, global majority, will say yes, there is always lack of employment, and a lot of us has experienced that. You might come with your master's, your doctorate, your PhD, but you still have got to start at that level. And the high cost of living, coming thinking that, it's going to be cheap here. Milk and honey is growing around the tree, but it's not. There's so much things. But what you mentioned about the positive things that you mentioned about is the recommendations, focusing on the goal, planning, focusing on the positiveness. Yes, cutting down on your standard of living. And of course, last but not least, is focusing on the word. If you are a person of faith. Thank you so much. Is there any questions anyone would like to ask?
Let me thank Dr. Awodinde for that enlightening talk. And just like you said, just gonna add few more to the very exhaustive list of very important issues that he has discussed with us. I mean, he has used Nigeria as a kind of a case study, and I'll kind of try to go along that path. I mean, part of the challenges that people also face coming here is the financial arrangement here. Africa is predominantly a cash-carrying economy.
Mm.
If you want to go and buy something, you carry lots of cash to go and buy things. But it's a different system here. This is not a cash-carrying economy. And people will know that some politicians that come with suitcases or bags of money were jailed in this country because it's not the practice in this part of the world, which can be quite difficult. And also in terms of the changes between the way we buy things and the way we buy things here. Here, you never know what credit card means back home. In those days, there's nothing like a credit card and have a credit card. But it's when you now learn that you cannot buy a house or build a house on your if you kind of, but it's really uh and then you start hearing about mortgages and you can buy a car. Unlike Nigeria, you're gonna buy a car with several millions of naira, you're gonna, which is kind of a different ball game, which is something that people would have to adapt to. Secondly, is the value of a extended family back home. You have quite a lot of support in terms of extended family, and more importantly, in terms of childcare arrangement, which is the most important one. When Dr. Warren was talking about people, immigrant that comes with their dependents,
Mm.
It's easy to come with dependents,
Yeah.
but you will know that you can leave an underage at home. Unlike when we were in primary school, we were just left to go to school at the age of 5.
Mhm.
And you come back with somebody, and people have gone missing sometimes, and the poor mom and dad will be crying around the street looking, my child is lost, and they will eventually find him somewhere. But here you can't. So how do you go to work when you go drop the kids in school and go pick the child from school? Even up to the secondary school, they still have to be. And when they come back, which is going to be a real issue, and how they then be a financial contributor to a family.
Mm.
So that's also one thing to kind of bear in mind. The other point to raise is about driving. People have come from countries where we drive on different side of the road, especially Nigeria. Coming here, you can drive on the same, which is, you think you're just going to drop in and just come with your international driving license and jump on the road. That's not, that's probably, yeah. We've uh, some of us that know about a case of the wife of a foreign ambassador that is driven on the wrong side, an American
Yeah.
ambassador that drove on the wrong side and killed a motorcyclist that went into quite a lot
Mm.
of regional problems. Well, just maybe because she was driving on the wrong side of the road, which can also be a challenge. And alongside with the driving is also the driving rules. If you come from a country such as Nigeria, where driving rules and lawlessness and fit for all is the rule,
Mm.
uh, you can't do that here. Just overtake anyone or just cut into anyone or just drive at any speed limit or not. Yeah, of course, it's gonna land you in somewhere else. I mean, I will use myself as a typical example. I go to Nigeria quite often, and I drive in both countries. The way I drive when I'm back in Nigeria today, as soon as I step back in, I pick up my car, it's a complete different wave that I will have to conform to immediately. I don't need to be told. It's because it's just how the system is set up.
Wow.
And the last thing I'm going to mention is the legal or the rule of law.
Mm.
Yeah, the rule of law is quite different also from where most African countries that people may have come from, like using Nigeria as a case study as well. Yes, we have the law enforcement agencies. We have several of them, from the VIOs to the local. You have several law enforcement agencies, but are they really enforcing the laws?
Mm.
Yeah.
Question.
So, but this is not a country where you can just squeeze something in someone's hands and then just go. Or this is not something you can easily just get somebody to talk to the, yeah, oh my, you don't know my father is a governor, you'll be whatever.
Mm.
So there's a proper rule of law, and there's no room for lawlessness or kind of showing that you are a big man. I mean, quite a typical example. I've been in several queues coming to fly into Nigeria from, in the check-in queue in Nigeria. People claim all sort of whatever, and they just run past you and do all sort of things, and people carry their bags and blah blah blah. But as soon as we touch them in Heathrow, they all stay calmly on the queue. There's no, there's no. They'll conform to whatever. Otherwise, they'll be. It's only a child, an officer that is even less than your granddaughter will tell you to go back, and you can't even say nothing. If you don't even say please or thank you, you're gonna be just told where you belong, because there's a proper rule and order, and which is not what immigrant might be used to. I think I would stop there so that I don't take this stage and let others
Fabulous. Thank you for all that
contribute
comment.
as
Thank you
well.
so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank
All these listed challenges
you.
have effects on the health, predominantly the mental health of the people, the new immigrants. Many of them, just like I said, there's loneliness, and loneliness we know is a trigger factor for depression. That is the reason why we try to encourage most of them to have friends, to build friends with people. I was also talking to some of them, very, very important. Community service, joining the group of people doing something. In the midst of social interaction is the antidote for 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 depression. So many of them can easily cave in. Majority of those new people are going through a lot, and some of them is manifesting in their increased BP, as we see. Um, I'm doing something on health inequality among ethnic minorities, and the result we are seeing from Black communities is really, really alarming. By the time the report is out, possibly we'll share with some of us. So people, especially that fall into that bracket of 3 to 5 years newbies in all these countries, uh, they are going through a lot of and they have depressive tendencies. Again, another side is what I've witnessed with some interactions with people where there is a reduced intimacy between couples as a result of extra shift, struggling to meet bills. Some of them are paying back the money they borrowed to come here to this country, and it creates a extensive stress in the family, such that the husband doesn't see the wife too doesn't hardly. There's a family I know that they only stay together night once in a week. It's used either the husband is away, the wife is around, or the wife is away, the husband is around for night shift. So it has tremendous effect on, it has caused so marital disharmony, and then a lot of other issues uh, like that. Again, like in Nigeria, where we can easily walk into any pharmacy, or in low middle income country where we can walk into any pharmacy and get your BP checked. Yeah, the rigors of getting a GP appointment just to check BP is enormous. And that is also what is causing, as we know that BP, hypertension is a silent killer.
Yeah.
And to just continue to progress like that until when the complications set in for some of them, maybe cerebral spinal accident or cerebral vascular and stroke. So there are so many other conditions like that that is really, really affecting their health. Now, talking of opportunities and challenges, there are opportunities that the newbies need to be aware of. Aside interaction to change jobs, because once you have some jobs, you can, like majority of them in UK now are on UK care visa, whatever. There is nothing stopping them from improving in that care visa. There are prescribed examinations that they can do, MVQ2, MVQ3, and then there is even a pathway that I studied about them where they can transit from NVQ5 to become a social worker, which is also a career path for them. That's why I put it the plan. What do I want to gain out of this? Medium to short to medium time plan, career plan. This is where I am. It doesn't matter what I was doing in Nigeria, whether you are a business analyst or whatever. Now I am here. What can I do? And so I'm a medical doctor. Wow, you'll be surprised that I'm going into property investment in this UK because I saw that house hunting, house stuff is a serious issue here. Real estate is a serious issue. And because of the problem, if one can tap into it for business opportunity, you will do well, helping people to alleviate that bottlenecks of house renting and whatever, and at the same time charging a a, just a token for the service. Then aside that, I also learned again that in this country you can be a magistrate without necessarily being a lawyer.
Yeah.
And these are volunteer opportunities where you can be very powerful and you will have self-actualization, you will have self-fulfillment in this country, what we don't see in low and middle income country. So there are opportunities around, and we encourage newbies to tap into this so that they can be very powerful and very influential in this country. Thank you.
Once again, I want to appreciate and thank Dr. Aworinde for granting us this opportunity to learn from his wealth of knowledge and which he has shared with us. We are truly grateful and we appreciate your time. It's quite precious and we appreciate you and we don't take that for granted. And on behalf of the Come Let Us organizers, we want to sincerely appreciate you and we thank you and we pray that God will continue to increase you in knowledge and in wisdom. God will bless your family. God will add more creative time to your time that you continue to share with us on this platform. And we pray that having joined us today, you will grow from strength to strength and God will continue to lift you up. We thank you, we appreciate you, and God bless you. And to our wonderful audience, we thank you for joining us every month. And we look forward to seeing you again next month with another topic. By the grace of God, God will grant each and everyone good health and sound mind to be here again next month in the name of Jesus. Thank you all and have a wonderful week and weekend in the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you all. Bye.
Bye.